In this video, we'll be covering autism and stimming so that by the end of the video, you'll know everything there is to know about stimming. Coming up. Hey, I'm Dan. I have Aspergers Syndrome, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia. I make weekly videos on this content, so consider subscribing to learn more. In this video, I'll also be covering some personal insight into stimming from my point of view, which I haven't really shared with anyone before. Welcome back to Aspie World Superheroes. I hope you are all doing awesomely well. I know I am. I'm feeling really pumped and awesome, ready to get this video done. And you know what? The best time of the week for me is my upload day, because I know that when my video goes up, all of you beautiful people come and talk to me on my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you're not already following me, go check it out. Hey, if you're not a part of the most accepting family on YouTube yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become part of the family. Okay, so every week I'll kind of read out some tweets or Instagram messages that you guys have sent me. So using the hashtag Aspie, the Aspie World, I have found two comments that I want to kind of read out. And the first one here is from Adam's Weather, and he said, "Do you have a girlfriend? And if so, how hard was it getting one?" I do have a girlfriend, and it is hard to find somebody that you want to, spend your time with and be romantically involved with, and it does take time and effort, and it's pretty hard to find somebody like that, because I guess everyone's individual, but I figure that you have to find somebody with a similar interest of you, or go to places of similar interest, and then you'll find people who like the same stuff as you, and then that's the best way to find somebody to kind of fall in love with, I guess. Okay, and the second question here is from Rach Chapman, and she said, who was the first YouTuber you watched? If you can't remember, who's your favorite YouTubers? Okay, so the first YouTuber I ever watched was, oh my goodness, probably Smosh back in the day, and then favorite YouTuber now is Peter McKinnon. So yeah, I mean, it was quite interesting. Smosh was, I think they were the first YouTubers I watched, and it's really weird because I met them when I was in VidCon. I was hanging out in the YouTube lounge and I was talking to them for ages, and I didn't realize that these guys were part of the Smosh team, and it was a real experience for me. Okay, so autism and stimming. I'm just going to go over basically like what is stimming, examples of stimming, why people tend to stim, and if stimming is like a good thing or a bad thing. So stimming is an action that people do if people are on the autism spectrum. Some people do it if they have like extreme anxiety. I know people with ADHD also do stim, but mainly people who have like autism, Aspergers Syndrome from the autism spectrum conditions do stimming. And stimming is a way of self-soothing and self-stimulatory behaviour, which is basically like a comfort thing. So when someone's nervous, sometimes people pace up and down a corridor, and you might have seen this kind of behaviour. So stimming is very similar to that kind of behaviour, but it's more on like a small personal, localized level rather than a general level, like pacing up down the hallway when you're like anxious. And so stimming happens when somebody needs to self-soothe. It could be that they're feeling anxious about something, it could be that they're feeling kind of worried, it could be that they're having difficulty in their day, and what they'll do is they'll tend to do something like some younger children will stim like this, and they'll put their hands across their face like this, and they like seeing that because there's two things that are going on here. One is that the light is out of phase, so they can see the flickering of fluorescent bulbs, and this kind of cross phases it, so it makes it easier to see. But the other thing is that this is a stim, and they just like this repetitive behavior. So it's a repetitive behavior that helps you overcome an activity or a task or a situation that helps you soothe. So that is like stimming from like a child's point of view. Sometimes children will have like a specific thing that they like to stim with, so it could be a toy or like an item or an object that they'll just shake really fast in front of their face, or they'll have it in their pocket and they'll just shake it like a maraca. But for adults on the spectrum, stimming is kind of a little bit different than that. So some adults may like dance, or they may kind of move really repetitively. They may rock backwards and forwards. They may like tap like air drum. They may like tap their legs. They may like click their fingers. They may like flick their fingers really fast. And this is a way of stimming, but it's more of a, it's kind of like a way of getting out all pent-up emotion or anxiety or anxious feeling, just like the children would do with the thing, but it becomes like a soothing mechanism. So if you want to be soothed, like if you go to bed, and some people find comfort in like slippers and socks and all this kind of stuff, and they go to bed and they kind of feel all cozy, so it's kind of like having that feeling. It's feeling very cozy and feeling very soothed by something that you're doing repetitive, because with Aspergers Syndrome and autism, people like to have repetitive actions to their life. It just helps them with their routines. So those are just some examples of stimming. There are probably more different examples that you can find, like a variety of people. If you ask somebody, they'll probably tell you that they stim in a different way, and there's nothing wrong with that, because basically stimming is very individual to the person, and it's going to be something that they do that may be unique to them, and it may be unique to everybody on the spectrum. So the question is, why do people stim? Well, the stimming comes from the fact that people with neurodiversity or neurodiverse conditions have this trait or symptom, or whatever you want to call it, of stimming, and it comes as part and parcel of those diagnoses. Now, somebody will stim again because of, like, they could be nervous, they could be scared, they could just want to be self-soothed a little bit, they may not understand the situation, especially autism spectrum conditions where people may not understand what is going on in that environment or that condition, and they'll want some kind of security or something that they know which is repetitive, which is comforting, and that is why they will stim. And this can happen, like, regardless of the age of the person or their ability. If they have a spectrum condition and they are, prone to stimming, then they're going to stim in these situations. Sometimes people use stims less and less the older they get, but sometimes it gets worse the older they get, so it doesn't really make any difference, like your age or anything. I think stimming is very individual to the person, but it's something that I guess almost everybody I know, I don't actually know anybody who has autism who doesn't stim, including myself. So when I go to bed, I like to rub my feet together to go to stim. I also kind of I like to shake my hand on my wrist a little bit like this, and then I also tap like this, and so I tap my fingers like this a lot in public when I'm stimming, and this is kind of like a way of, again, of self-soothing. It helps me concentrate, and I guess it's how the invention of the fidget spinner came around and why it was so popular with people on the spectrum, because they could use it to stim with, and it was just like a stim toy. Now, there's lots of companies out there that actually make stim lines of like toys or gadgets or whatever to help people stim, but again, these things are, if you're already using an object that looks like this for stimming, like say you moving like a small ball in front of your face, and they might come up with a stim ball that may be like soft for your hands or whatever, and that's kind of cool. But I guess stimming is so personal to the person, it's gonna be difficult to get a stimming gadget right. But then again, I loved the fidget spinner, and I found this very, very helpful, especially for like stimming and stuff, and maybe that is something that can help people over the years. So what I'll do is I'll try and link to some stimming stores down below, so you guys can check out some gadgets that may be able to help you, because whatever helps is going to be something really, really awesome, and it's going to be beneficial for the person. But like I said, I love the fidget spinner. I think it's awesome. Also, stress balls are really, really good. I find that stress balls are amazing to just squeeze. I just love that kind of like, you squeeze it and it expands, you squeeze it and it expands. I love that repetitive notion, and people on the spectrum always like the repetitive behavior, and it's going to be pretty cool. So is stimming good or bad for the person? Well, stimming doesn't do anything bad to the person, and I suppose it's good because it helps them soothe. Now, a lot of parents kind of worry about this type of repetitive behavior with a child, or somebody may worry about them stimming or rocking or doing something like that in public if they're an adult or something. But then again, you have to kind of think that that person is them, and that's who they are, and that's their personality. And if you want to support them and want to make it good for them, you kind of just encourage the fact that it's positive. They're doing it, they're not hurting anybody, it's something that they enjoy doing, and so just let them enjoy that moment and let them enjoy that stim, because it's going to be beneficial, because they'll feel more relaxed. Because if you stop somebody stimming and they're enjoying it because it's soothing them because of a situation that's kind of negative or something that they're not really happy with, then it's going to have an adverse effect. They're going to not want to cooperate in that situation, especially people who have autism, and it's going to upset the whole routine, and you're going to have an even bigger mess. The person may have a meltdown. It's just going to be messy. So I would say that stimming is pretty good for the person, and you should really just let them carry on with it, and like I said, maybe check out some stimming toys or some stimming videos or anything that they may be interested in. Again, stimming is so individual to the person. You'll have to really pick up on something that they do that's very individual to them. So if you know somebody who's on the autism spectrum, if you know a repetitive behavior that they do, and it could be putting on their favorite song and just skipping through it really, really, really quickly, this is another form of stimming. They could just like to dance in a certain way at a certain time, or when they're really stressed, they might just like to get up and rock and sway to side, or move kind of like forward or back. And this is all stimming. I would say that it's kind of one of the traits that everyone has, kind of comorbidly. It comes with Aspergers Syndrome, comes with autism diagnosis for an autism spectrum condition. It's something that I really feel is empowering for the person, because it's something that they do that they enjoy, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So if you'd like to just learn more about autism and Asperger's, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll leave a link up here to another video that I've done, which is something about autism that you may actually be interested in. So yeah, just check it out if you're really interested in it, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is every single Thursday, and I upload vlogs on Saturdays. That's if I get my lazy bum to actually upload them. Okay guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.